All right, this is Unit 4, Video 1, Frequency Tables. Frequency tables tell you how often something occurs in a set of data. So our first example has age of babysitters in a neighborhood, and we're going to make a frequency table as well as graph it of these data points. So we have 14, 15, 15, 17, 17, 17. So we're going to make a simple frequency table as you've seen that I've drawn here. In the data column, I simply just write out those numbers. In the tally column, I'm going to tally how many times I see each of those numbers. So I see 14 once, I see 15 twice. I went ahead and put 16 even though I don't see it there. And then 17 I see 3 times. The frequency column over here is simply you write those numbers. So there's a 1 there, there's a 2 there, a 0 there, and a 3 there. There I have created just a simple frequency table. Now I'll go ahead and graph it. And my graph over here is simply this. So you see 14 appears once, 15 appears twice, 16 nothing, 17 appears 3 times. All right, another example says the number of points basketball players scored in a season. So here you have a list of data points, 6, 7, 8, 11, 14, 17, 22, 22, 24, and 25. Now we're going to actually use ranges to make our frequency table. Definitely good practice on frequency tables is when you use ranges like I did here, you use the same numeric values. So 6 to 10 is 5 data points, 11 to 15 is 5 data points, 16 to 20 is 5 data points, and 21 to 25 is 5 data points, okay? So again, we're going to tally up. How many times do I see numbers between 6 and 10? I see a 6, I see a 7, and I see an 8. Those all qualify. How many numbers do I see between 11 and 15? I see 11, and I see 14. Joy is this data points were in order. Between 16 and 20, I just see a 17, and between 21 and 25, I see 22, 22, 24, and 25. Again, the frequency, I'm just adding them up. So I have 3, I have a 2, I have a 1, and I have a 4. Now, this is a graph because I did use those ranges. We're going to make a histogram. All right, on our histogram, even though we didn't have any between 0 and 5, it's still good practice to start at 0. So our 6 to 10, we had a total of 3. So I'm going to go up to 3. I'm a little off on that. 11 through 15, we had 2. So I'm going to draw a bar there. Now notice my bars connect. In a histogram, the bars touch. In a bar graph, they do not. 16 through 20, I'm at 1. And then at 21 through 25, I'm at 4. So I have to go all the way up here to 4 and connect my bar. So there would be the histogram graph of this frequency table. Two-way frequency tables are a visual representation of the possible relationships between two sets of categorical data. The categories are labeled at the top and the left side of the table. All right, this example says a survey asked if you could have a new vehicle, would you want a sports utility vehicle or a sports car? And as you see in the table, it was separated by male and female, giving you the answers of the males who chose SUV, the males who chose sports cars, the females who chose SUV, and the females who chose sports cars, and the totals. So if you were asked in this survey, do more women or men prefer a sports car, what would be your answer? To answer this correctly, many might give the answer of, well, 45 women did, so thus more women prefer a sports car than men to 39. However, you need to look at the total males and the total females, because when you do this, you see that in the women, it was 25% of them preferred a sports car to the 65% of the males preferred a sports car. So, there's a lot of ways you could answer this, but you definitely need to take it to the percentage to look at and say, okay, wait a second, actually more males preferred a sports car when you look at the total males that were involved in the survey. Okay, and then here's a couple more questions that are being asked from this frequency table. What percentage are female? So again, we're looking at, we know the total females are 180, and we know the total is 240. So we're going to take our 180, divide it by 240, see what that percentage is, and we get 0.75. So when we multiply that by 100, we get 75% of this survey were female. Then the question says, how many people responded to the survey? Good information to know. There was 240 people total who responded to the survey. How many people chose SUV? Well, 156 out of that 240 chose SUV.